You're calling from a 6. You know what? This screen is like mad small. You're calling from a 610 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Michael.
Yes.
It's Michael from Pennsylvania. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
Hey, can I talk to you about that Roy Moore race for a couple seconds?
Definitely.
So I noticed that a lot of people are getting kind of down on Doug Jones and that he's going to lose.
Yeah.
And
seemed like Weigel had a sort of optimistic read on it yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I've been having this optimistic feeling too. I've had a pretty good track record looking at the polls lately. I don't know.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I'll fucking drop you. Don't ever. This is John from San Antonio. If Mike comes on. First of all, he's depressing turnout, and I have a much better record than him. I'll smack him across the goddamn face.
I would love that to happen.
Me too.
But
fair enough. Yeah, no, but go ahead. I want to hear this,
drag
please.
your ass over the top rope like WWE, Mike.
It's all love.
But
we have just for new people.
Like,
actually, let me just say this for new people. John from San Antonio is a brilliant statistician and analyst of the polls, and Mike from PA is an incredibly shrewd, smart, historically grounded, like, actual political operative. These are the people that we get calling into the show. We have very, very smart callers. Although not all of them are smart. If people get the joke that I'm making now, some of them are not so smart. Okay, go ahead.
And so anyway, I've been looking at it, and first of all, the pollsters that are doing polls suck ass.
Yes.
So these are not like quality people.
What kind of polls are they?
And two, they're like local TV pollsters, and like it's I think Gravis was like one of the major ones who did it, and they tend not to be considered the best.
Right.
So the quality of the polls is low, but one thing that I'm noticing looking through the internals, which most people never do, is that Moore has about a 20-point less favorable rating than Donald Trump in Alabama. So that is disastrous for a special election, because people actually have to get off their ass and go vote specifically for Moore. It's not like it's part of their normal routine of like showing up and it's election day, everybody vote. They have to like make a conscious decision to get out there and vote for someone. And, with Dave's on the ground reporting, and the fact that the numbers are like Doug Jones is winning in some of these polls. And the ones where he's losing by a couple points. I actually think he's got a pretty good shot.
This is another thing. I want to run this by you, too. I don't know how relevant this is, but it was occurring to me recently, too, that, people talk, obviously, like, Alabama is a state where Trump is very popular. And a lot of the dynamics around Trump, there's immense wealth inequity in Alabama. There's an incredible amount of corruption in that state's political culture and in the Republican Party there. And of course, obviously racism and misogyny, the core building blocks of Republican politics. But it does seem to me that Roy Moore he's Ted Cruz mold, not Donald Trump mold. In the sense that
I don't know, dude. He's so fucked up, though. Like, I don't mean to.
Oh, they're both very no. They're both extremely fucked up, and I'm not talking about their personal. They're not. I'm not talking about their conduct. I'm not equating that, but I think that Ted Cruz and the contingent that would be inclined to show up for more, like those evangelicals who got more likely to support him after the charges that he was a predator started emerging. That's a specific type of fanatical Christian grievance vote. Trump got a lot of those voters, but he also got, the kind of just hardcore certain types of, bigots, obviously, which of course would vote for more, and then people with the misdirected economic populism. And I'm just wondering if part of that coalition in this enthusiasm gap and the 20 points lower than Trump, maybe not all part of that coalition is particularly excited for this guy who isn't even exactly in the mold of their guy, if that makes sense.
So like Dave talked about these kind of more affluent Mitt Romney type voters, right? Which were the base of the Republican Party, and college educated, stuff like that.
Right.
And I think those people really are actually significantly going away from the Democratic Party. What the exciting part is...
You mean from the Republican Party?
The stuff that going away from the Republican Party, sorry.
Yep.
The exciting thing is, for the Democrats right now, is people who vote are moving away from the Republican Party, but there's this huge untapped resource on top of that. And that untapped resource is overwhelmingly Democratic-leaning voters.
Right.
If we get a good organization, we could have a fundamental realignment of our political system. And one of the facts, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before, but from 1930, which was when FDR was elected and swept into office, until 1992, the Democrats held the House of Representatives for 58 of the 62 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of country we really have.
Right.
And since Bill Clinton realigned the Democratic Party into this neoliberal mush,
right,
they've held the House for 4 of 22 years.
There's only the only successes in modern democratic politics, and I think there's a variety. There was the structural backlash to the right starting in the 80s and even the late 70s. In fact, it's definitely a major part of it. The massive increased corporate influence of all of American politics, the assault on labor unions, and of course what Clinton did to the party. But there's a variety of factors. But just as a basic fact, Democrats have performed well in elections in 2 scenarios in modern politics. Bill Clinton or Barack Obama, who are 2 of the most charismatic politicians in modern politics, period. Or, as in 2006, Republicans are so, or in fact, even these are special elections, and arguably, Republicans are so just beyond atrocious that there is a reaction to them. It has not been in the sort of structural affirmative sense of the old Democratic coalition anytime in the modern era, and that's why they've had a very hard time holding on to power.
That's the opportunity we have, is to rebuild that coalition in a new way. Obviously, we wanted to get rid of some of the Alabama parts that
they're gone.
Eagerly have joined and taken over.
They're gone.
They've taken over the Republican Party.
The future of Southern Democratic politics, ironically, is going to be super left, because who's left? People of color. Like, if you look at some state party initiatives, and it's not where it needs to be, and of course, people can be neoliberal, obviously, regardless of racial and sexual identity, but I think there's a lot of room. And Doug Jones, I think, seems like he's doing a decent job of co-tapping into. On one hand, I won't embarrass you. I'm not, let me say, a pedophile. How about that? That appeals to the college-educated, embarrassed folks. He's also, he has legends like John Lewis campaigning with him. I mean, he's talking about prosecuting Klan terrorists. He's on that.
Yeah,
he is doing it. He's doing a good job with that.
Yeah, and he actually hasn't run to the right. I mean, I think we don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good.
I agree.
And Doug Jones has run as far left as I think you can reasonably expect him to run in Alabama,
especially abortion.
He's not running away from.
Yeah.
He's not running away from abortion. He's not running away from protecting minority rights. He's running at these issues, and I think even more left-wing program might even work better, but he has actually shown a path of having some balls and actually going after Roy Moore, attacking him for what he is, which is a child predator.
Yep.
So that's what's going on. So I think he's got a pretty good shot, and
from your lips to Allah's ears.
I saw Virgil Texas on Twitter the other night. Oh, you couldn't hear me. I saw Virgil Texas on Twitter the other night. He said that it made this point that the GOP wouldn't be getting involved again with Roy Moore if it wasn't close. If he was just going to stroll to victory, they'd keep their hands off him.
No doubt. All right, Mike.
Oh, no, that's absolutely right. Yeah, you have a good one.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the call.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos